open for this one last day as millions of Americans cast their votes.
We've been waiting for 4 years for this.
In his closing message to voters, former President Donald Trump wrapped up his campaign, making a final blitz across swing states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and finally Michigan.
Everybody's got to vote.
And in keeping with tradition, New Hampshire's small town of Dixville Notch kicked off Election Day voting at midnight, with all 6 of their registered voters casting their votes and resulting in a tie.
I have been a Republican most of my life, but I find myself in conflict with the Republican Party at this time.
But at this time, it is Election Day, and if early voting is an indicator, Election Day turnout this Tuesday is expected to be high.
Our democracy only functions when we all participate. So not only do I hope that everybody votes, but I hope they understand that these are normal people running our elections, right? It's people from all walks of life, all political parties. And, you know, your neighbors, your friends are wanting to make sure that this runs well.
All right, now there is going to be a watch party here in West Palm Beach for Republicans as they watch returns come in. Harris, the vice president, will be in Washington, D.C. as she watches the returns come in there. But as you guys know, we very likely will not have an answer tonight if these polls have been accurate and the race is as tight as it appears to be. I can help us.
Yeah, it looks like you're about to do hurricane coverage. It's very windy.
It does sound very windy.
Very choppy.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
I was saying earlier, I'm glad I got a haircut before I came here. It's blowing hard here.
Yeah.
Now, be honest, Doug. Are you wearing shorts?
He would not.
I actually, Patrick, can you pan down? I am just for the record. I'm wearing running shoes, but I'm not wearing shorts.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
there you go.
Here's something I also find interesting.
I thought about it.
I bet you did.
Doug, we're about to throw to a reporter in your hometown of Washington, D.C., when you just could have stayed there, but you chose Florida.
I had to think long and hard about that, but I was willing to take one from the team, for the team, so you're welcome.
Well, how kind of you to be willing to do that, to go to a nicer, warmer climate.
So, you probably said this. What time do you think President Trump will vote?
You know, I don't know what time he's actually going to vote. He did just land a short time ago, so
Yeah.
I don't even know if Mar-a-Lago is over there.
Way
I don't
over
know
there.
if he's made his way back home quite yet, but he is expected to vote at some point today.
Okay. All right.
I was hearing maybe around 11 o'clock this morning. Man, they were traveling yesterday. Former president and vice president all
The
over.
last-minute push.
Oh, my God, it was amazing. So let's get to our reporter in D.C.
Thank you, Doug.
Hey, Madison, when do you expect to see the vice president?
Okay.
Good morning, guys. We are at Howard University, her alma mater. She's expected to be here tonight for her election watch party. And the results, that's anyone's guess if they're going to come out tonight, tomorrow, in the coming days. But the enthusiasm is high, but the Harris campaign says that they are cautiously optimistic.
The momentum is on our side.
Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign is hoping to ride that momentum to victory. But as her team is busy with Election Day preparations, security is popping up across Washington, D.C., at the White House and at Howard University, where Harris graduated, and the site of her election night watch party. Local officials are warning communities about engaging in violence once election results are released.
The losing side may be feeling destructive, and that is not going to be tolerated.
Harris spent all of Monday traveling around Pennsylvania, knocking on doors and speaking at rallies in Allentown, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. She got a helping hand of star power along the way from Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, and Oprah Winfrey.
Deciding not to decide, that is most definitely a vote to let other people control your future.
And states will begin reporting the election results once their polls close. I do want to mention that more than 81 million people voted early this year. Mike, Alex.
Isn't that something? 81 million of us have already voted. That's
81 million.
Yeah, that's half of everybody that voted, 4 years ago, right? Man. All right. Thank you, Madison. Nice job. Looking good. 6:38. It's time for Susario.
Get our election day forecast.
Yes, I vote for today's weather. Said it before.
All right, so great coverage this morning there from Fox 29 Philadelphia. They also got to check in with some Fox News correspondents as well, as Doug Luzader is out in the Sunshine State this morning. And then we also got to check in with Madison Scarpino to learn of those last-minute advice to get your vote. But hey, speaking of getting your vote, we want to hear from you this morning. We're asking you to send in your I voted pictures. And this cute picture here from Alani and Jennifer Michaud from St. Augustine, Florida. Your vote counts. Get out and vote. And I love the placement of these stickers. You got one on the forehead and there one on the cheek. They don't want you to miss it. When you first see them, they want you to see that they voted. The second one coming in from Francine De Vera, a no relation, as that is my last name. This coming from Porter. Voted early, sisters. Angie on the left, Francine on the right, and Asia the middle, which is Francine's daughter. Beautiful photos, ladies. Thank you so much for sending it in to us. All right, this next one from Margaret Gatlin. She says that she loves Trump for 2024, and instead of sending in her I voted picture, she sent in her I voted hat. All right, Margaret, thank you so much for sending this in from Bruceville. We got time for one more. We actually don't. So this one coming in live now, fox.com/connect. If you haven't sent in your photos, that's okay. You still have plenty of time to do so. Scan that QR code on your screen or go to live now, fox.com/connect. The time now 6:51, and I want to head back out to the nation's capital, giving you a live look this morning at the U.S. Capitol. There, cloudy and overcast conditions out in Washington, D.C. And we know this election season, the words stress and anxiety are top of mind for many Americans. Let's check in with our content partners at Fox 5 DC to find out why.
The M270 for this portion of the Beltway is about 24 minutes for that 8-mile stretch, so actually pretty normal. Marissa?
Thanks, Sadie Mae. Speaking of commuting, Uber and Lyft are offering Election Day discounts on rides to and from voting polls. Lyft providing a 50% discount of up to $10. Just enter the code VOTE24 between now and 10 p.m. Uber is also offering 50% off rides for users who use their new Go Vote option on the app to book a ride.
All right, in the home stretch now before we close out the election, but as voters gear up to head to the polls, some are feeling obviously uneasy about what might happen.
And Stephen Braddock joins us now. We do have the anxiety, Stephen, but a lot of relief, too, because it's almost over.
There you go. And like you said, we're in the home stretch, so we're almost there. Well, officially Election Day, as we've been mentioning all morning long, but as voters head to the polls to cast their final ballots in major races across the country, some are feeling a little anxious in the final countdown. Fox 5 spoke to some voters in the area to see exactly how they're feeling this morning.
This is my first election in the U.S. I'm from Puerto Rico. So actually I haven't experienced like all these emotions, seeing people around, like seeing all the barricades in downtown. It's like scary. I don't know what's going to happen next.
I hope that folks, both ends of the political spectrum can talk to one another and be objective and open-minded about one another's points of view.
Yeah, the hope is that cooler heads will prevail at some point. But one more thing that we heard a lot of is whoever wins, people are hoping for a peaceful transfer of power. Guys?
Something we can all agree on.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Stephen. Well, businesses are offering freebies and deals to voters on this election day for those looking to get a sweet treat after heading to the polls. Places like Starbucks and Krispy Kreme are offering sweet election day discounts. Those who place a delivery order of $20 or more at Starbucks can get a 30% off. And at Krispy Kreme, fans can get a free original glazed donut and an I voted sticker.
All right, put a bunch of those freebies on our website, too. Head to fox5dc.com for the full list. 1 year after a Montgomery County police officer lost his legs in the line.
All right, the time now 6:54 here on the East Coast, and you heard about that Election Day anxiety from Fox 5 DC. Also, on a positive note, some of those freebies you can get on this Election Day. As we know, Krispy Kreme and Starbucks participating in that. And then, hey, maybe you need a ride to the polls. Well, Uber and Lyft got you covered this election day. Check in with your local Uber and Lyft on your app to see how you can take advantage of those free rides to the polls. We're going to go ahead and go to our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour as we are closely approaching the top of the 7 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. I'm Jeanne Francine. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanne Francine. 6:57 is the time. We're closely approaching the 7 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. And as of 7 a.m., at least 20 states have election day voting underway. And that's open in real time out in New York, one of the many places. This one taking us out to Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Museum there on your screen, and you can see people are waking up bright and early to avoid those long election day lines to exercise their right to vote. And several places are underway. As I just mentioned, this one is Brooklyn, New York. We also have a shot out in Charlottesville, Virginia. Take a look at this voter exercising his right. And then, of course, we know that when you do exercise your right to vote, you get those cool I voted stickers, right? And we've been asking you this election day to send us your pictures. This one coming in from Rebecca Torres. And you see, as a daughter of an immigrant, it's an honor to be part of the voting process. Love the U.S. A beautiful picture, Rebecca. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for sending us this photo. We have plenty more that we can share with you on this Tuesday. This one coming from Teresa, Panama City Beach, #vote. Straight and simple to the point. Teresa, good morning. Thank you so much for sending us this photo. Let's get to the next one. This one coming from Margaret Gatlin out in Bruceville. My daughter Destiny and I, she says this election season they are casting their vote for former President Donald Trump. As you know, former President Donald Trump in the race against VP Kamala Harris this election season. And we continue to get these photos throughout the morning. This one coming from Anna Mae Bryan out in St. Cloud. Okay, not only did we get the I voted sticker, we got a pretty cool TikTok video to go along with it. Pretty cool to see how you all are getting excited to exercise your right to vote on this election day. Thank you so much, Anna Mae. And throughout the day, send us your I voted pictures. All you have to do is scan that QR code on your screen or go to livenowfox.com/connect. And throughout the day, we will be showing those election day photos. Another shot we are getting on this election day, this one takes us out to Jeffersontown, Kentucky, and you can see voters are actually waiting in a line. Wow, at 7 o'clock here on the East Coast, already a line, and it's pretty much in a semicircle right now. I guess that's what we can call it. You can see the lady pointing and showing how long that line is on this election day. But hey, people don't mind waiting in line, right? Bring a snack, stand in line, drink some juice, eat an apple, and exercise your right on this election day. As we talk about the polls being open, we do want to head to the Sunshine State of Florida, as we know that polls are open out in the Sunshine State, and we know they do have team coverage there on the ground. Let's check in with them now.
Starts with You Decide 2024.
Today, we decide who will spend the next 4 years in the Oval Office.
We know what Donald Trump wants. He wants unchecked power.
This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of incompetence.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris want a promotion. This election will not only decide the fate of the nation, the future of Florida hangs in the balance. It's 7 a.m. and You Decide 2024.
Well, months out on the campaign trail have all led to today. Thanks for being here for a special edition of Good Day Orlando. I'm Amy Kaufeld.
And good to see you this morning. I'm Ryan Elijah. An exciting day. It is Election Day. Polls are now open across Central Florida. The clock next to us shows us how much time they have left before they close. And this morning, we're bringing you live team coverage, a lot of different angles. Amanda McKenzie and Morgan Parrish, both live at the Orange County polling locations. And we start with Morgan, who is at the Wadeview Community Center. Morgan, were there people in line when the polls opened?
Ryan, good morning. Yes, so we just got here around 10 minutes or so ago, but yes, there is a line. You can see people are lining up, and we have been seeing the cars roll in. So the doors just opened right now, and they are finally being let inside. We know it's going to be a busy day out here in Orange County. We just left the supervisor of elections office. We spoke with, the supervisor, Glenn Gilzine, and he is expecting a huge voter turnout today. We already saw a huge turnout when it comes to early voting. In fact, we saw more than 50% of voter turnout, across our area. So we know there's a lot going on today. There's a lot of questions when people are coming out to vote. We have a lot of those answers on our website at fox35orlando.com. But just to answer a few for you guys right now, a major question has been, can I take a photo with my ballot? The answer is yes, but you might be better off taking a picture with your I voted sticker outside of the polling center. Florida law says no photography is permitted in the polling room or early voting area, except an elector may photograph his or her own ballot. And this includes security cameras inside a polling room. They do have to be covered up. Now, also, I have seen a lot of people ask this question too. Can I wear political hats, pins, shirts to vote? That answer is yes. Voters are allowed to wear campaign buttons, shirts, hats into the polling booth according to the polling place procedures manual. And that is for this 2024 general election. So again, we still have a lot of those answers on our website. You can head on over to fox35orlando.com. Of course, we're going to be hopping around to different precinct locations, starting off here at the Wadeview Community Center. Hopefully, we can catch up with some voters as this morning goes on. We'll keep you guys updated. For now, reporting live in Orange County, I'm Morgan Parrish, Fox 35 News.
Morgan, thanks. Interesting to see line out there. You might see that in a number of places. This morning, we're also tracking Tropical Storm Raphael. It's making its way up the Caribbean and could reach hurricane strength tonight.
And meteorologist Brooks Garner joining us right now with a look at how that could potentially impact us here in Central Florida. Brooks?
Yes, Amy and Ryan, we're looking at rain chances going up, and it's not going to be raining like all day or anything like that coming up in the next few days as this moves by, but we're going to have these isolated downpours that are really, really heavy. It's going to be one of those days where you don't get much, but then all of a sudden it starts pouring for like 20 minutes and you get an inch of rain. So right now, the worst of it is near Jamaica. They're getting pounded with torrents of rain right now. It'll be moving through the Cayman Islands, then Cuba strengthening to a hurricane and warnings are for those parts of the Caribbean before finally it works into the Gulf of Mexico, but takes a beeline northwest away from Florida. And that's the key. We're not going to catch the main impacts from this thing. That'll be relegated to areas closer to the center of circulation and, of course, where it makes landfall as a likely, at the time, weakening tropical storm on the northern Gulf Coast. Right now, we're starting to see the first rain here in Key West. Here's a live view from Key West High School from our WeatherStim camera network. We're going to see skies like that here later on today. All right, it is the 5th. It is Tuesday. It's election day. To get you out the door this morning, we'll see 79 degrees at 9, up to 83 by 1. Our rain chance today is at 40%. Coming up, we'll take a look at future radar because we're going to see the first directly impacting bands from Rafael moving through our region overnight with locally torrential rain. Okay, let's take a look at our Skyfox traffic, though. First, a lot of folks heading out the door. Deborah, how is it shaping up?
Yeah, good morning, Brooke. So taking a look this morning at our downtown Orlando camera right now. So we have I-4 here and the 408, and you can see traffic-wise, it's really up to speed as the normal morning commute at 7:04 this morning. So no issues to report, at least in this spot of downtown Orlando. There is a crash, though, that I am following this morning, and this one is actually, I believe, on Colonial Drive. Let's go and take a look at the map and see what it's showing. I wasn't seeing too much red. Right lane blocked, East Colonial Drive, headed eastbound, right at North Forsyth intersection. Right there, Union Park, just north of Colonial High School and just south of Winter Park High School. So just a heads up there. Your drive times, little delays on Champions Gate coming to downtown. You're looking at a 31-minute commute on I-4 eastbound. Have a safe commute. I'll send things back to you guys at the desk.
Deborah Brooks, thank you. There are 6 amendments on the ballot for Florida voters this year. Each of them needs 60% support in order to pass.
Been a lot of focus on Amendment 3 and 4. We focus on 3 right now. It would legalize the use of recreational marijuana statewide. And Amanda McKenzie is live in Orange County. And Amanda, right now, of course, as we know, only medical marijuana is available, and they will vote on that today, will voters.
And if Amendment 3 passes, it would effectively decriminalize possession of marijuana up to 3 ounces for adults 21 years of age or older, and it would decriminalize recreational use of marijuana throughout the state. So that means that any adult could buy it from a licensed seller and use it recreationally. The organization Smart and Safe Florida is behind Amendment 3. The organization estimates 1.8 million people in Florida are already using marijuana purchased illegally. So they argue that's why it's smart to regulate it and reap the benefits of it. The state's financial analysis of the amendment projects at least $195 million in state and local tax revenue from legalizing recreational marijuana. Here's what voters had to tell Fox 35 about what they think.
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't see it as a recreational tool. I think it's a real problem.
Amendment 3, I think, just makes sense. I feel like we need to keep up with, I don't want to say the rest of the world, but the rest of the country in being progressive and not making things that are so common and not necessarily harmless, but recreational, legal.
Governor Ron DeSantis is against it and has traveled the state voicing his opposition. 24 states plus Washington, D.C. have already legalized it. Ads against Amendment 3 call it a monopoly. Opponents say the revenue comes with other costs. Some are concerned about marketing and access for kids and say high taxes on pot will still push people to the black market. Amendment 3 needs 60% of the vote in order to pass and legalize recreational use of marijuana. If it fails to pass, then the current laws stay in effect, meaning that it would be illegal for recreational use. Reporting live in Orange County, Amanda McKenzie, Fox 35 News.
Amanda, thank you. A new poll out by the New York Times and Siena College shows a razor-thin race in key battleground states.
Yeah, according to that poll and some others we've seen, a lot of these states are a toss-up. Both candidates appear in Pennsylvania, which is considered to be the most important of the swing states.
And
we win Pennsylvania, as I said. We win Pennsylvania. We win the whole bag of wax. We can have another one. We'll put that one on top.
Philly, you know what I'm about to say. We are not going back. We are not going back. We're not going.
So overnight, the town of Dixville Notch in New Hampshire conducted its famous midnight vote. Ballots from 6 residents there showing a split down the middle, 3-3. Joe Biden won that 5-0 back in 2016, not seen as a bellwether. All right, across Central Florida, voters will decide a number of key local races on the ballot well beyond the presidential race.
And these range from the state Senate to a number of sheriff races. Danielle Knox is back in studio tracking some of the biggest decisions that voters will face. Dee?
Hey, guys, good morning. Good to see you again this morning. This one is sure to gain attention from across
across the country. We have Democrat Debbie Murkazell-Powell, who is trying to flip a U.S. Senate seat. She is going up against Republican Senator Rick Scott, who was first elected to the seat in 2018. In that race, Scott took the seat from incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson. In Orange and Osceola counties, voters will decide whether to keep State Attorney Andrew Bain on the job or give that position back to Monique Worrell. You might remember that Governor Ron DeSantis appointed Bain last year after removing Worrell from office. The governor argued Worrell was not qualified to serve. And in Osceola County, Sheriff Marcos Lopez is running to keep his seat. He is running against Osceola County businessman Danny Martinez, who notably has no law enforcement experience. Martinez has argued, though, a new vision is needed for the sheriff's office. Democrat Tom Keene is trying to hold on to his House seat. He flipped District 35 in January and now faces a rematch with Republican Erica Booth. The district covers parts of Osceola as well as Orange counties. And finally, U.S. Congressman Maxwell Frost is vying for another term in office. The 27-year-old Democrat faces Republican nonprofit founder Willie Montague in his re-election bid. These are just a few of the many races that we are following for you this morning, and you can find a full list on our website, fox35orlando.com. Ryan and Amy, back to you.
Danielle, thanks. Fox 35 News is your election headquarters. We've got special coverage starting at 4 p.m. today, leading up until the polls closing. That's at 7 o'clock. We'll have extended coverage well past midnight. Of course, be sure to have the Fox Local app downloaded, and then tomorrow on Good Day Orlando, we'll have all the reaction and results. Next up this morning, we will continue our election coverage with more people starting to head to the polls to cast their ballot.
Coming up next, a professor from the University of Florida will join us live to talk about when we could start seeing some results. It is 7:10. You're watching Good Day Orlando.
Join us for. All right, and we appreciate Fox 35 Orlando for that extensive team coverage as we talk about Election Day voting and people flocking to the polls to exercise their right to vote. This live look takes us out to Manchester, New Hampshire. You can see a kind of a long line there depending on how you look at it. The good news is no one is sitting in the chairs. Once you see people sitting in the chairs and it extending to the wall on the opposite side of the gym, that's when you know it's a really long line. We have another live look this morning. This one takes us out to Langhorne, Pennsylvania. An important shot this morning. As we know, Langhorne is located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. That county considered critical to either presidential candidate as they fight for Pennsylvania's 19 electoral votes. Thanks to my EP, Raphael, for giving us that information as we want to provide context this morning as you make an educated and informed decision this election season. As we continue to discuss your top political headlines, while we are out in Pennsylvania right now, let's go ahead and check in with our content partners over at Fox 29 Philadelphia so we can see what's happening in that neck of the woods on this election day.
Vice President Harris, they're holding watch parties in different parts of the country.
Yeah, former President Trump will be in West Palm Beach. He landed not long ago, at least late last night, early this morning probably. Doug is there, and then Vice President Harris will be in D.C. over at Howard University. That's where Madison is. In fact, let's start with Madison. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike and Alex. Happy Election Day.
Right back at you.
Election Day. So I'm sure as we see behind you, it looks like their fences are up. I'm sure the setups are there as we prepare for the results to start coming in. Yeah, exactly. We got here a little bit before 4 a.m. This was already up here, ready to go. All of this fencing, heavy law enforcement presence. It's still early, so we haven't seen anything too crazy going on here yet, but local officials are warning if there's any threats of violence or any actions of violence, it's not going to be tolerated at all. But hopefully none of that will happen here today.
Yeah, now, why Howard University? Tell us, Madison.
It's her alma mater.
Yeah.
And of course, she has already voted. She voted mail-in already, so we won't necessarily be seeing that today, but I'm sure there's going to be, at her campaign headquarters, a watch party, as is customary on election night.
Exactly. That election night watch party is going to be here, like I said, Howard University, her alma mater. And last we heard from the Harris campaign, they are cautiously optimistic. Of course, still trying to close that gender gap that exists right now. We know that a lot of women are going for Harris and a lot of men going for former President Donald Trump. That's based off of several polls. But again, it's anyone's guess for who's going to win and when we might start seeing those results today.
Okay, well, get ready. Madison, nice job this morning. Thank you. Maybe check with you next hour. Shall we go to South Florida?
Because that's where Doug is, and he chose to go there.
Yes. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, good morning, guys.
All right, so when do you expect the former president to vote?
Well, you know, this had been a question. He had initially indicated he would vote early, decided not to, so we do expect him to, at some point today, emerge to vote. The Trump plane landed here in Florida just a little while ago, so I would imagine at some point this morning we'll see him do that and probably make some comments as well. But, you know, the campaigning itself, pretty much over, at least at that level. The candidates themselves don't have any major events planned today.
So, do you know where the watch party will be? Is it, obviously I would think it would be Mar-a-Lago, right?
It's actually not. It's here in West Palm Beach. So this is the big watch party. We don't know how much time Trump will spend there versus Mar-a-Lago. I assume he's back at Mar-a-Lago now because the plane landed a little while ago. But the actual watch party will be in West Palm. You know, and obviously Republicans are hoping this is going to be a victory celebration. But as you know, we may very well not have an answer tonight if the race is as close as the pollsters think. That's a big if. But we'll see. I mean, this could be a landslide one way or the other. But, you know, the polls certainly indicate this is going to be a nail-biter tonight.
Remember, you're too young to remember 24 years ago what happened in Florida, but you're a history buff.
Florida.
That's
this
right.
back when Florida used to be a big swing state, and of course it's not anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know, even the non-swing states can tell us something about the overall turnout, gender gap, that kind of thing, to give us an idea of how the whole race is shaping up.
I can't believe 81 million people have already voted. Isn't that something? Man, it's a new age, a new era.
It certainly is.
All right, Doug. You know, I get tired just like walking to my apartment from work. Thanks, Doug. But did you see how much those two candidates traveled yesterday?
Yeah. Well, they have jets and things.
Well, I know, but still.
Yes, there were a lot of different time zones, a lot of different.
Scranton, Harrisburg, Allentown, Pittsburgh, Philly. Former President Trump ended up in Michigan last night, then lands a few minutes ago in Florida. It's just exhausting.
Well, now they can sit back a little bit.
And then they rested.
And wait for the results.
By the way, the political ads have not stopped. That will be tomorrow morning, folks. So come on, one more day. One more. And then we'll go back to Ozempic. Ozempic.
And of course, our car commercials. You got to have the car commercials.
Right, cars.
And home care.
Prevision, what is that called? It's originally made from jellyfish. Those commercials, I've missed those over the last year. All eyes are on the swing state of Pennsylvania. How about that? I think you knew that. And voters in Bucks County are heading, well, the polls are open.
And they've been there. They were there before the polls even opened. So, Marcus, what are you seeing now? Is there still a line?
Well, I'm going to show you what I'm seeing. Greg, why don't you turn around and show the packed house here. They have been here since 6 a.m. Folks are excited to get out and cast their vote, make their voice known. This has been a really long line and something I did not expect, but the workers here did. They said they were gearing up for a heavy attendance of folks who are going to show up here and cast their ballot. Again, I told you 6 o'clock this morning, they were here and already ready to go. Enthusiastic with the wave, ready to put put down their candidate of choice. We got a lot of workers, security, police, volunteers. Everything is here. Everything is ready. The machines on the left, if you can show those, Greg, with the green, that is where they submit their ballot. That's what I've been noticing so far here. So that is where the ballots are going to go in once they make their choice, not just for president, but also for down the ballot stuff, which is important and worth mentioning with the PA Senate race. Three-term Democratic Senator Bob Casey and Republican challenger Dave McCormick, by far one of the most expensive races in the nation. Casey's won 6 statewide elections all the way back to 1996, been in his current office since 2007, and then McCormick taking a second stab at this after previously losing to Dr. Oz in the Republican primary back in 2022. So that stuff important as well. But this county plays a huge role. We spoke to a couple voters here who talked about why it was so important for them to show up at 6 a.m. today.
It's really important to get your vote in this time, and I wanted to be here early. I said, I don't care if I have to wait an hour before I get in there. I'd rather wait and get my vote in. Been waiting a long time.
How come you didn't do early mail-in or anything like that?
I don't feel comfortable. I want to see my hands put that in there. I want it in there. I don't want to hand my ballot off to someone. I don't want to mail it in and not know what happens to it. It's too important right now.
I'm voting, but, you know, with everything that's going on, I want to make sure she's safe. And there's nothing going on that might be not safe. And it's important to vote and make sure we get the country back on track and where it needs to go.
This place is buzzing. The line is still wrapped around the parking lot here, and so it's definitely going to be a wait to get in here and have your voice heard. But we will be here at least for the next hour here, guys, bringing you updates, talking to voters, seeing why they're coming out for this all-important election.
Well, I've been doing the show a long time. I don't know that I've ever seen that many people at 7:13 on election day. Maybe so. My memory is fading.
And we'll keep watching. I think they also have waves, like before work, after work, lunchtime. So
yeah,
I'm sure that also
That's very
affects
true,
things.
because it is 7:14. People on their way to work.
Okay, do plan when you go to see more security at the polling booths? There's a task force watching for potential interference or intimidation. So Cheyenne is live at South Philadelphia High School with what she is seeing. Good morning.
Good morning, Alex. Yes, safety definitely is a top priority. Just wait until you hear what District Attorney Larry Krasner had to say. It's really making national headlines, but he got his point across that Philadelphia will not tolerate any type of voter intimidation. Here at South Philadelphia High School, the setting looks a lot different than how my colleague Marcus was describing Bucks County. But, you know, they're getting the motion moving. And a good thing out here is that actually the line was just going all around this entire platform you see here, but they quickly moved those voters inside. So good for them being able to quickly get to work and get the job done. But going back to the topic of safety, last night we were over at the Philadelphia Ballot Processing Center where security was already tight. Police were stationed outside and there were screenings to even get inside. District Attorney Larry Krasner